I 23F think my BF 30 meters is purposefully trying to make me feel insecure because he's always talking to me about other girls in his life and I don't know why or what to do about it. Let's start with the least important. He's always commenting on girls' looks. What I mean by this is that we will be watching TV and he goes, "That girl is so beau today, I fucked up." This doesn't bother me by itself, and if it was just this then I wouldn't even be here. But it's everything combined. Just last week he told about the girl in his friend group that he sees every single day that he was madly in love with for years and thought that she was the one for him, but when he told her his feelings, she didn't go for it. Then he told me about another girl in the group that he hooked up with 2 weeks before meeting me and asking for my number, and that the girl had just got off a relationship and didn't want anything serious. And 2 weeks ago, when he told me about his high school girlfriend that he changed schools for back in the day when they broke up because he was certain she was the one, and how just last year he dropped everything to catch a train just to have coffee with her and then come back on the same day. Look, he's allowed his past. That's fine, but I'm never the one asking him about it. I'm all for speaking of the past in a generalized way, and that's it, no more no less. That's what I do with him. And before you go, well, you have to communicate that. Well, I have. Multiple times. Every single time he mentions this, I get weirded out about it. Because the context is never I was in love with this girl, or I had a relationship with this girl that ended and it screwed with me, or it changed me, or I learned something from that, but now I'm over it, something that would justify him telling me about it. No, it's always, "Oh yeah, I thought my high school girlfriend was the perfect girl for me." And you want to know the funniest thing? I visited her last year when she was single and available, missed work, paid 2 train rides just to have coffee with her. What a curious story to tell my kids one day. He could be browsing Instagram with me next to him and he will be looking at a story of some girl and tell me that he went on a few dates with her one time, or hooked up with her once. He's never like I've f/'d her or anything disrespectful like that. He doesn't give me details on it, but he always has to tell me, for some reason, when a girl and him have been involved, and I just don't want that image in my head. FFS. I wonder sometimes if he's just trying to get a reaction out of me, or just make me feel insecure. Because after he tells me all this, especially when he talks about girlfriends of his that he sees every day and that he was in love with or had a crush on, I then want to have a more serious discussion because I want to be sure that he doesn't have feelings anymore and that I'm not just a second option. And his response is to get annoyed because he says, "I could have lied to you, but I decided to be honest. I knew we wouldn't benefit as a couple from me telling the truth, but I decided to tell you, so you should be honored." Like I should just listen to him opening up and not have questions of my own. I'd rather not know. Period. Like I've told him multiple times. It makes me insecure. I don't like it. But he doesn't stop. What should I do? Too long didn't read. He tells me about girlfriends of his that he's been madly in love with, that he had a crush on, about past hookups, his high school love that he believed was the one and chased her for years, that just last year he got on a 4-hour train just to have coffee with her. Random girls from his Instagram that he tells me he's been on dates with. Girls he says hello to on the supermarket and then tells me they've hooked up once and laughs it off. If he were to tell me this with some kind of purpose, like a relationship that screwed with his head, or changed him, or that made him learn something, but no, I believe he's just trying to make me insecure. Besides this, he's always commenting on girls' looks, mentioning how that girl on TV is absolutely stunning, or "so beau today, I fucked up." I've told him multiple times it bothers me. He says he understands, then after a while does it again. If you told him that telling you these things makes you feel insecure and he keeps doing it, then he's trying to make you feel insecure. Or it's a compulsion and he's not over them. Does he do this with his friends and family too? I'm going to call age gap on this one. He's shitty and dating younger because they're more likely to put up with this type of shit right here. And here you are putting up with this type of shit right here. You deserve better. Please dump him and go find a nice 22 to 25-year guy. I'll cut to the chase. I've learned if you repeatedly tell someone that something hurts you, and they continue doing it, they're doing it on purpose. Pull the strings on this kid, and toss him. I keep telling you I don't want to hear this stuff, but you're not listening. It makes me wonder if you like me feeling insecure. How can I, 19 meters, stop resenting my sister, 15F? Growing up, my sister was definitely the favorite. I always felt like an outcast in my family because my parents barely acknowledged my existence. Because of this, I was really mean to my sister. I would often pick on her and make her cry. My sister was born on the day before Christmas Eve 2005. Due to this, we didn't get to celebrate Christmas that year. I used to think that she ruined my Christmas, but now I feel ashamed for even thinking that way. Ever since my sister was born, I've never really had my parents' attention. My father rarely paid any attention to either of us because he was always busy with work. My mother was always home, but she paid the most attention to my sister. Because of this, I hardly ever got the chance to spend time with my mom. Although my mom always promised to spend more time with me, she never kept that promise. Our parents always treated her better than me. If my sister and I were to argue, our parents would always take her side. If she broke anything in the house, I'd be the one to get the blame. Moreover, our parents would always give her more gifts for her birthday and Christmas. I know it's not my sister's fault, but I still feel like she indirectly ruined my childhood. My sister and I do get along better now, and we sometimes spend time together, like doing a puzzle or playing a video game together. However, I really don't know how to get rid of the resentment. Any advice is appreciated. Please help me. Too long didn't read. I was neglected after my sister was born. Due to this, I have harbored resentment towards her over many years. Recently, I started to realize that it's not her fault. How can I let the resentment go away? I think some therapy might help quite a bit here. Tell your parents. I honestly think that's the best decision. You don't resent your sister, you resent your parents, and you're projecting that onto your sister, blaming her for the fact that your parents neglected you. And you need to bring that up with your parents because they are the ones that did you wrong, not your sister. Hey, I think you're halfway there already, because you want to have a better relationship with your sister, which is truly admirable, given the circumstances, so go you. Growing up, I had a difficult sister and a golden one, with me, the youngest, just tagging along, probably the somewhat neglected child. While I pretty early understood where my oldest sister's resentment towards her siblings came from, it took me a major crisis and some good old therapy to understand how terrible it was for my middle sister to always be the good child, basically never being allowed to have a good relationship with her siblings. Seriously, if you try to free yourself from your parents' opinion of you and your sister and try to see her as a person, you two will be fine. Remember being so utterly thrilled the first time I felt my older sisters trying to connect to me and not just talking to their little sister, if that makes sense. Give her some advanced credit for being a nice person, and give her the opportunity to live up to that. I'm sure that your parents, like mine, didn't create this situation because they're evil monsters, but because they were simply not capable of fostering a healthy relationship between their children. Which is sad, but doesn't mean anything for your future relationship with you sister. Good luck and have fun together! Exclamation mark. It's important to remember that we are not our thoughts or our feelings, we are awareness. Understanding this, we are able to allow deep-seated wounds like the one described above to dissipate by acceptance and elevation of the spirit. Love is the key to find peace and ultimately prosperity in your life. Live a life of gratitude and love and you will be free. Do you still live at home? Cause I think that this will be a lot easier to handle after you've been out of your parents' house for a while. It's great that you want to build a better relationship with your sister, and I think that'll be more likely to happen when you're not just seeing each other in the physical location where your parents regularly favored her. Also, can you access therapy? Because that could be good too. Am I being unreasonable about taking a paternity test? My 32F, 2 requests before taking a test are that my ex, 30M, outlines whether he plans to be involved in the pregnancy and our child's life and agrees his girlfriend, 32M, has no contact with the baby. Then I will take a prenatal paternity test. He never questioned paternity until now and I'm not sure where it's coming from. Don't want to get my hopes up that confirming paternity means he will be present for appointments or be involved after. I'm worried he will take confirmation as a chance to pressure me into making decisions about my body that I don't want to, or try to involve his girlfriend somehow. I am a pushover and would have a hard time telling him he can't be present for an ultrasound, even though it just feels weird having someone else's boyfriend in the room for something so intimate. My issue with the girlfriend is that they hid their relationship from me for several months. I noticed a lot of changes and he assured me nothing was going on. Hair stuck to his fleece that was longer than mine, eyeglasses I didn't recognize in the bathroom, being too busy to answer the phone, furtive texting, etc. Gaslighting at its finest. I felt like I was losing my mind. It really hurts that they both knew about the pregnancy and were complicit in hurting me. I also just cannot fathom why a woman would want to date someone with a baby on the way. His girlfriend approached us in public and physically dragged him away, twice. After that, I started receiving threatening violence and racist emails from her. She threatens me, wishes harm to the baby, etc. She claims she didn't send them and I'd like to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it's hard when I can see her photograph pop up on Gmail. I feel like if he is unwilling to meet these two conditions, he can wait until my due date in summer. Too long didn't read. Is it okay for me to have requests before taking a paternity test? Please document everything this woman says and does in regards to you and your child. Definitely save every communication and write down and date any other interactions you have with her. As for your ex, he seems like an awful human being. Do you really want him around during your pregnancy? It honestly seems more stressful than it's worth. You should just wait until after the baby is born and then let the courts decide child payment and custody, which is where all the documentation comes in. This is, of course, completely up to you. The most important thing is that you get whatever you need to feel supported through your pregnancy. If you want your ex involved, that's your right, and I think the conditions you've laid out are more than fair. Good luck. Purple Hearts. Get a restraining order against the girlfriend. Cut contact with both of them. They sound dangerous. If it doesn't help you to have him in the room for appointments, he is not entitled to be there, and would probably either not show or make them stressful. Get a paternity test after the baby is born, and establish custody and child support. I wouldn't do it. Wait until the baby is born, have the paternity test in hospital, file for child support. There's no real benefit to testing early since he's a jerk you don't want around, anyway. You can't be a pushover anymore. You have a child to protect. Ask yourself what is best for the baby. This includes having a happy, healthy mum. What behavior do I want my child to learn from me? Thank you for your wisdom, and I totally agree. I am thinking about what kind of example I want to set for my daughter, and I don't want her to have the values that he and his family share.